Here we are. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to News 3 Now live at 4. I don't have our music.
No, we got a little bit of a rough start there, but thank you for joining us today.
And Lisa Briggs from the Bruce Company is going to be along. How to attract hummingbirds
That's
to your
right,
yard.
and other pollinators.
Yes.
It's very important now
So
in spring.
important.
Can't wait to get in the garden.
Here's what's making news on this Wednesday. A Madison man is sentenced for violent attacks on the UW campus.
Governor Evers says he wants to re-examine the contract with Foxconn.
And an ending to the story of a woman infatuated with the Columbine massacre.
Let's take a look outside today. It was a little bit cooler than it's been.
Yeah, a little rain around the noon hour, but
still not bad.
What are we looking at here?
I think that's Over Park.
Okay. We're watching the skies, however, there is a possibility of some heavy weather later on. Dana's in the backyard, where not a bad afternoon.
Right now, we just have some cloudy skies for us in Madison. Of course, a few sprinkle spots earlier in the day. And we do have the chance, of course, for some stronger storms to build in later this evening. It's something we're watching very, very closely. There's a front just to the south. And if it lifts a little further north, we could be dealing with some very strong, even severe thunderstorms, especially in the southwest corner of the state. Now, most of the rain actually northwest of Madison right now. There are a few little sprinkle spots towards Iowa County. And then as you look towards Dubuque and even into northern Iowa, that's where we're seeing some stronger thunderstorms currently. It is 54 in Madison, but 69 in Platteville and 71 in Dubuque. So a very tight temperature gradient. If you're in the southwest corner, much warmer than if you're towards, of course, Sheboygan at about 45 still. Looking throughout to the Midwest, you can see again that warmer air is just to the south of Wisconsin right now in Illinois and the southern edge of Iowa, also into Indiana. They're seeing temperatures anywhere from 15 to even 20 degrees warmer than where we're at in Madison. Dew points also climbing down to the south. More moisture moving in. The air feels just a little thicker, and those dew points have changed quite a bit just in the last 24 hours. In Madison, we're sitting in a similar spot, but notice towards Dubuque and again around the Platteville area, about a 10-degree change for us. In the next few hours, our temperatures are going to drop just a little bit, but we do have the chance for those storms to start to build in, and we'll be keeping a close eye, of course, on the potential for some severe weather, especially between about 4 and 8 o'clock this evening. That's our greatest chance. We do still have an alert day in the forecast for tonight. Isolated strong storms certainly possible. The threat there, of course, large hail, the potential for localized very heavy rainfall. We'll take a closer look, though, at your future track and what's ahead through the rest of the evening and for the rest of the week in just a few minutes. Right now on the roads, we aren't seeing any major hiccups or delays. It should be a good thing for your evening commute. This is a look at the Beltline and Broadway. Overall, east and westbound seems to be moving along okay. Not, again, seeing any major delays at this time, but never ruling out anything along the Beltline to start to see a few stop and goes. Around Janesville, things look fine. 39 and 90 look okay. Also, it'll take you 7 minutes to get from Verona to the Beltline, from Oregon to the Beltline, about 8 minutes, and 5 minutes from Springfield to University Avenue. If you're traveling from Janesville up to the Beltline, about 26 minutes, 18 minutes from Sauk City to Middleton, and a quick 15 minutes from Sun Prairie to downtown. The drive should be okay right now, but again, later this evening, wouldn't recommend being out on the roads with those stronger thunderstorms coming on through. We'll take a closer look at what's ahead for the evening in just a few minutes.
All right, we'll keep an eye on things. Thanks, Dana. We'll see you in a few minutes.
Thank you, Dana. First at 4, a man who pled guilty to a string of violent attacks on the UW campus is being sentenced at this hour.
Coleman Chung of Monona is facing almost 23 years in prison, but that is not good enough for one of his victims who pleaded with the judge to keep him behind bars longer. The court prosecutor detailed the violent rampage that took place over 4 days in the fall of 2017. On September 29th, Coleman Chung violated a 17-year-old girl passed out at Gordon Commons. The next day, he put a woman in a chokehold and attempted to rob her. And then on October 2nd, he attempted to put a woman in his trunk, taping her hands and then hitting her with the hatch when she was resisted. In court, Chung apologized for his actions.
My dad deserved a better son. He doesn't have a son he can be proud of. Even after all the suffering I caused you, your families, and my own family, my dad supports me and loves me. I want to thank him for that.
Chung's defense attorney and the state reached an agreement of recommending 22.5 years in prison. The victim who spoke today said she was shocked to learn of that was the entire recommended sentence. At first, she believed it was just for the crimes he committed against her.
Governor Evers tells reporters the state may revisit the original deal with Foxconn due to changes made to the project. He says 13,000 Foxconn jobs in the state is, quote, unrealistic since the size of the planned facility has been reduced. The deal calls for the state to give the company as much as $3 billion in incentives over 15 years if Foxconn meets its goal of 13,000 employees and a $10 billion capital investment.
All we know is that the present contract deals with a situation that no longer exists. So it's our goal to make sure that the taxpayers are protected and environmental standards are protected. And we believe that we need to take a look at that contract and see if it needs to be downsized as a result.
Republicans are responding. Senate Majority Leader Scott Fitzgerald in a statement says, quote, if the state is willing to renege on its commitment to Foxconn and open up a contract without agreement by both parties, then what guarantee can Wisconsin make to any other company that wants to expand here? Patients are hoping a new proposal at the state capitol can help them get easier access to medications that they need.
The bill would create exemptions to the step therapy protocols in Wisconsin. Rose Schmidt is here to explain what all of this means. Rose?
Yes, well, if you've ever been denied a prescribed medication because your insurance company wants you to try a different, often cheaper option first, then you've experienced step therapy, and this bill could affect you. It would create exceptions to this process so patients can get direct access to medications they need. At a joint public hearing today on this proposal, lawmakers heard from healthcare professionals and members of the Wisconsin Step Therapy Coalition who suffer from costly conditions like arthritis, psoriasis, or cancer. Under the bill, a patient could ask for an exception to that protocol. Insurance companies would be forced to grant or deny the request within 3 days or 1 day during emergencies. That could help patients like Stephanie Block, who says she waited for a year to get the right medication.
If a doctor says, this is the medication that's going to work for you, this is what I think that's going to treat your complex condition, you should be able to start that medication. You shouldn't have to say, well, let's try this drug and fail it first. Oh, that didn't work, let's try this other drug and then fail that.
Insurance companies have argued that step therapy keeps costs low before riskier and more expensive drugs are prescribed. But the latest version of the bill is a compromise lawmakers reached with insurers. This bill would not ban step therapy altogether because doctors argue that this process actually can be helpful for some patients. The bill has broad support with more than 50 lawmakers on both sides of the aisle signing on to it. Similar legislation has been passed in 21 states.
We'll continue to follow it. Thanks, Rose.
The search is over for an armed and dangerous woman in Colorado. Authorities say she was infatuated with the Columbine massacre and posed a possible threat to more than 500,000 students in the Denver area. Nichelle Medina has the latest.
18-year-old Sol Pais, who authorities say was obsessed with the 1999 Columbine school massacre, took her own life Wednesday morning after 24 hours on the run.
Technical team was able to locate a female party, which we believe to be Sol Baez, with a self-inflicted gunshot wound.
A SWAT team descended on a remote campground about 45 miles west of Denver after getting tips Pais was in the area. CBS Denver spoke with a witness.
A woman kind of matching this description, described as, quote, naked, running with a firearm, was spotted in the area this morning.
Pais had been on the run since landing in Colorado Monday night.
We identified that she departed the airport and went to a store where she did procure a weapon. She obtained a pump-action shotgun and ammunition.
Investigators say Pais did not make any specific threats to a specific school, but her actions were enough to concern law enforcement and school officials.
We are relieved that the threat to our schools and community is no longer present.
The investigation prompted hundreds of schools to close Wednesday, keeping more than 500,000 students at home.
To close an entire metro area is not an easy decision, but at the end of the day, it's the right decision, the best decision to protect all of our kids.
The 20th anniversary of the Columbine massacre, which resulted in the deaths of 1 teacher and 12 students, is Saturday. Nichelle Medina, CBS News, Los Angeles.
And authorities say Pais legally purchased her weapon.
Washington is bracing for the release of a redacted version of the Mueller report. The Justice Department says Congress and the public will see it tomorrow. In a 4-page summary, Attorney General William Barr said the special counsel found no evidence of collusion between the Trump campaign and Russia in 2016. But he also noted the report does not exonerate the president, particularly on the question of obstruction of justice.
What we may or may not see, depending on redactions, is the extent to which there may have been wrongdoing, and then people can make a judgment for themselves.
House Democrats have not ruled out a subpoena to get the full Mueller report. The president's lawyers are preparing a rebuttal that is expected to be released after the redacted Mueller report is made public.
Attorney General Barr has issued new rules which could leave thousands of immigrants seeking asylum behind bars while their cases are being considered. Barr's decision says asylum seekers who are determined to have credible fear will no longer be eligible to be released on bond while awaiting a court hearing. The ruling only applies to asylum seekers who enter the country illegally, not those who apply for asylum at a port of entry. Customs and Border Patrol released this video showing a group of almost 400 immigrants crossing the border in Arizona yesterday.
I had to allocate virtually an entire station to begin transporting this group of 400 to a secure location to provide care, to provide medical attention for them.
It would be a lot easier if Congress would get together and the Democrats would agree to get rid of these loopholes, these horrible and foolish loopholes.
President Trump tweeted this morning, quote, Democrats in Congress must return from their vacations and change the immigration laws. The new rules would not go into effect for 90 days. They do not affect unaccompanied children or families.
Nearly $1 billion has been pledged to help rebuild Notre Dame after Monday's devastating fire tore through the cathedral. Firefighters are assessing the damage, but say it's a miracle that so many treasures were saved. Today, salvaged works of art and religious relics were taken to Paris City Hall. The Crown of Thorns and the Tunic of St. Louis and several other major works were also moved to a safe place.
It is Game 2 of the Bucks-Pistons NBA playoff series tonight in Milwaukee. This is Bucks practice video from yesterday. They easily defeated Detroit by 35 points in the first game over the weekend. Tip-off 7 p.m. at the Pfizer's Forum. Kevin Lewis will have a live report coming up at 5 o'clock.
There's more to come tonight at 4. Seems more and more people own drones in America.
And that is raising some safety concerns.
As drone use becomes more popular, drone safety becomes more critical. I'm Mo Lange in Baltimore, Maryland, where these kids are learning to fly drones in step with FAA regulations.
You're watching News 3 Now, live at 4.
A new Journal of American Medicine study finds the DNA testing company 23andMe may not offer a reliable way to detect most breast cancer risks.
Researchers suggest nearly 90% of people who carry the BRCA mutation would have been missed by the company's test. They say most people carry other mutations of the gene, not the 3 variants 23andMe tests. The company says the report was conducted by a potential competitor, and the results are, quote, overblown.
Stocks slipped a bit on Wall Street due to healthcare stocks falling. The Dow Industrials lost 3 points, closing at 26,449. The Nasdaq Composite Index fell 4. The S&P 500 was off 6. Well, the number of drones piloted by regular Americans has taken off in recent years.
This is Sky 3.
This is Sky 3 in the flesh.
Yep,
or in the plastic.
That you see on our show several times, including in our open on the shot of Monona Terrace. The Federal Aviation Administration predicts by 2022 there will be 2.5 million drones and over 300,000 pilots, and many of them will be children. Mola Lenghi takes a look at how the next generation of drone pilots are being trained.
The screws, I think, is the most challenging part.
Zamaya Williams is assembling her own tiny drone, complete with batteries and LED lights.
I like to build them.
The 4th grader is part of a class run by Global Air Media in Baltimore that teaches drone assembly, flying techniques, and safety.
So when you're flying, you have to take an account for the helicopters, the other planes that are flying around.
In recent years, drone ownership has skyrocketed as the cost of the technology has plummeted.
The same drones that the professionals are flying today, some of these kids are getting these drones for Christmas, for birthdays, and they haven't had the same, level of training as the adults.
Safety is not just on the minds of these kids and the instructors, it's also on the FAA's radar.
When Buzzy goes out for a flight, the #1 rule is keep Buzzy in sight.
The FAA has created short animated videos starring Buzzy the drone to remind kids they need to be able to actually see their drone while it's flying, keep it away from airports and below 400 feet. In January, a drone shut down Newark Liberty International Airport after a pilot reported it came within feet of the plane he was about to land. A month earlier, more than 100,000 passengers were stranded at London's Gatwick Airport after a pair of drones flew into the airspace. A recent study showed the potentially severe impact of a drone crashing into the wing of a small plane. Those are the kind of scenarios drone safety teachers are trying to prevent. They hope throttling up on the guidance now will help students become safer pilots later. Mola Lenghi, CBS News, Baltimore.
And any drone over a half a pound has to be registered with the FAA.
So this is definitely registered.
Yes, here's its number right. Well, you can't see it, but here's its registration right here.
It's kind of ominous looking, isn't it?
Yes.
It's fascinating technology, though. It really is.
And it's taken off, so to speak.
No pun intended.
Well, it's the first reality showdown between contestants from The Amazing Race, Big Brother, and Survivor.
A preview of tonight's premiere of The Amazing Race after today's forecast.
Take a look at this. If we're ever replaced by robots, they'll be created by Boston Dynamics. Here's 10 of the company's Spot Mini robots pulling a large truck. These four-legged robots can already open doors, pick things up, climb stairs. These Spot Minis run entirely on electric power, up to an hour and a half on a single charge. Boston Dynamics says the Spot Mini will be available soon, but the price hasn't been announced, and they may not be available to the average consumer. This frightens me.
I love it. It's fascinating
Yes.
and frightening. Yeah.
How do they get them to work in tandem?
All at the same beat. I want to buy one so Penny can chase it. It looks like
there you
a
go.
little dog to me.
There you go.
Pulling a truck. All right. So,
what's our storm potential here?
So right now on Madison, things actually are looking just a little better because of that cloud deck, and our dew points haven't really climbed yet. However, if you're in Grant County, folks in the southwest corner of the state, that's where we're seeing warmer weather and those dew points climb a little quicker. So we may be seeing some stronger storms pop up here in the next few hours. We're going to take a closer look at that future track right after the break. We had a few quick breaks in the clouds, but overall mostly cloudy in Madison today, only hitting a high of 54. A little cooler than what we were initially forecasting, what the models were initially going with, and that's actually kind of helped pull back on our severe threat in Madison, at least through the rest of the evening. Now, we do still have some time, of course, to warm up as that warmer air is just to the south, so we may see our high temperature climb a little more, but the fact that we're not in the low 60s right now really is a good thing. Again, in Madison, the southwest corner of the state, though, we are keeping a close eye. The cloud coverage today just building on in. We currently have rainfall north of 90. A few thunderstorms mixed in there, and this line of storms off running through central Iowa right now. We did have a severe thunderstorm warning issued in central Iowa, just north of Des Moines, but again, nothing for us right now really in the southern edge of the state. A few isolated little showers, as you can see, but we're keeping a close eye, of course, on that second line that'll be sliding through later this evening. We do still have a slight risk for severe weather in the southwest corner of the state, and then stretching up along 90, a marginal risk for severe weather. The concern, of course, for some strong wind gusts, localized heavy rainfall, and maybe even some large hail possible. The rain up towards Camp Douglas right now, some isolated spots that are currently dealing with some heavier showers, and we will have some light showers possible, isolated showers through the rest of this evening. But really between now and about 8, 9 o'clock, that primary time to have these thunderstorms slide on through. So we will be keeping a very close eye to the sky through the next several hours. This is all as an area of low pressure just north of Iowa is bringing all of this rainfall to the northern Midwest. Our warm front is just to the south, and you can really see a clear line between where the warm air is through Illinois, Iowa, and into Missouri. Of course, the cooler air for us lifting off to the north. This system is going to slide northeast, and our threat with these storms comes through just later this evening. And then after our cold front slides through early in the morning, most of the rain threat is gone and our severe threat gone as well. Not ruling out the slight chance for a shower for tomorrow afternoon, but most of the threat is out of here. Temperatures also going to be a little cooler, of course, behind that cold front as we head into your Thursday afternoon. So through the next few hours, again, watching for that possibility for scattered showers and a few isolated thunderstorms. The strongest potential for severe weather is towards Lone Rock, Platteville, Mineral Point, the southwest corner of the state. Later this evening, still having the chance overnight to have some scattered showers, but much of that moisture really dies down after our cold front slides through. Early tomorrow morning, we're in the low 40s for overnight lows, mostly cloudy sky for your Thursday, and there is that slight chance in the afternoon to also see a shower or two. Temperatures will only climb to the low 50s for tomorrow, so it will be just a little cooler for us outside throughout the state. Friday, we start to become mostly sunny. We get sun in the afternoon. Friday, later in the day, really should be quite pleasant for us. A nice end to the week after we get through the stormy middle. By our later on this evening, we do have the chance, of course, to see some very strong wind gusts as that storm line comes through. Notice this is around 8 o'clock. Those wind gusts could get up to 25 miles per hour towards Mineral Point, 23 in Madison. Looking at the bigger picture through this weekend, I know Easter weekend right around the corner. A lot of folks have plans for Saturday and Sunday. Friday, again, looks pretty pleasant for us throughout the day. Saturday also looks mostly sunny and pleasant. And then by Sunday, throughout the morning and early afternoon, things should be fine, but overnight will become mostly cloudy. And we do have a chance for showers starting to develop Sunday night. We do have an alert day in the forecast still for tonight because of that threat for those isolated storms. They could be severe at times. It's just a good idea to have the weather app on hand in case anything is issued. You get to know right away. Overnight low temperatures will drop just a little bit into the upper 40s. We're looking at that chance for some showers and isolated thunderstorms. Temperature-wise, though, it will be pretty mild heading into tomorrow morning. Temperatures tomorrow will be just a little bit cooler, closer to 52 for our afternoon highs. It'll be a little breezy, so those wind speeds will be anywhere from 10 to 20 miles per hour, and there's a slight chance for some showers building in again in the afternoon, but just a slight chance for us. Friday, we have sun, Saturday and Sunday, including some sunshine there as well for Easter, and then that slight chance for some showers building in late on Sunday into Monday. A slight chance on Monday and Tuesday, but notice our temperatures for the weekend, they climb up quite a bit, and then we will cool down a little bit to start off next week as well. But for your Thursday, thankfully, we're not talking about any severe potential marching back through for your Thursday. It is just really for the next few hours. And our focus has really become a little more concentrated to the southwest corner of the state, just because that's where we're seeing the warmer air and those higher dew points climb in.
It's a little too cool.
Just a little too cool. Not quite moist enough for us here in Madison right now.
All right. Thank you, Dan. I guess that's good news.
Yeah. It is good news for us this evening. Still don't want to discount anybody. Keep an eye to the sky.
Exactly.
But things are looking a little better for us right now.
That's good.
Mm-hmm. Thanks. Yep.
The multiple Emmy Award-winning series, The Amazing Race, returns tonight for its 31st race around the world.
Hard to believe. This season has a twist. 11 teams comprised of some of the most memorable and competitive players from Survivor, Big Brother, and of course, The Amazing Race. And according to the show's host, every team has a shot at winning the $1 million prize.
Welcome to the start of a very special Amazing Race.
This season, what we're doing is we're putting memorable characters from 3 different reality shows that people have grown to love in Survivor, Big Brother, and Amazing Race. These competitions are really different. The competition of Big Brother is taking place in a tiny little house with walls and you can't get out.
We met on Big Brother. I didn't vote for her to win, but she won anyways. And she evicted me 3 times.
So it's kind of a weird love story. She was my favorite Big Brother contestant ever. And then we were together on season 14.
She won Big Brother. Alyssa and I have never been on a reality show together. I always compete on reality shows with my husband.
I hate you! Take it! I want to know who thinks they have the edge over everybody else.
The survivors in general are very tough.
Survivor prepped me for dealing with the unknown. You're without food, you're without water, you're without comfort.
Survivor, you know you're going to have to turn on your friend, your trusted ally. Here, it's us to the end.
We're both pretty well-known villains on Survivor.
Right. We will be much more prepared than like these Big Brother teams who slept in a house all summer.
Of course, on Amazing Race, people are not confined to a house or an island. The race course takes place around the world.
We're Border Patrol agents, Team Border Patrol. We came so close to winning last time. You look at the cast now, and you have a lot of Big Brother and you have a lot of Survivor. They're not racing mode. They're strategically trying to vote people out. I think we'll be outside of that fray.
We're back now for a big second run. The legend continues of the One Team Fun. The first time Becca and I met was at the starting line of the Amazing Race.
Urkel, my man!
Urkel!
Team Fun was truly destined to be.
15 years ago, it was fairly intense. The energy, I think, that we brought to the race.
My ox is broken!
The biggest part of our strategy is to utilize meditation to see how easily or not so easily we can maintain our balance.
We're from The Amazing Race Season 28.
We are super fans of Big Brother and Survivor and Amazing Race. So strategy is, don't tell people that.
It's our 3rd time, so we feel like we have an advantage over the other teams. We are the only team to survive 3 U-turns. We have the target on our back, so we just need to stay ahead of the pack.
When you've got a cast as competitive as the ones we have this season, it's going to get cutthroat. Only one team is going to cross that finish line and win $1 million. There isn't a team that is on this season that doesn't have the potential to win this season of Amazing Race.
Mark and I love this show.
I love that show.
So do I.
Well, we've had two winners from Madison.
We had a couple from Madison and then 2 students at UW-Madison
Biology students.
won a couple years ago, yeah.
The 31st season of The Amazing Race premieres tonight at 8 o'clock right here on News 3 Now.
I like the twist, too. I think the twist will be fun to watch.
I can't wait.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Still to come tonight at 4. By now, you've probably heard about CBD oil and its supposed healing powers.
If you haven't, you soon will, because big business is now getting on the CBD train. We'll have that story when Live at 4 continues.
Here's a live look at the UW Memorial Union on a cloudy Wednesday afternoon. They're getting ready to bring out the chairs, though that happens tomorrow.
4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon.
Oh, that is the...
If you want to help, line up at 3.
Okay.
And you get a goodie bag.
Oh, that's great. That's always a sight for sore eyes, isn't it? Spring returns tomorrow. CBD oil. It seems to be everywhere lately, claiming to cure just about everything.
Retailers are embracing CBD oil, and for good reason. They're seeing green. It is a booming but controversial industry.
With CBD, I'm like more chill.
For relaxation as well as to relieve toothache and pains.
That's the only thing that would help me with my migraine headaches.
CBD oil has exploded in popularity as claims abound that it can help treat almost anything from insomnia to inflammation.
The idea that you can go online, purchase a CBD product, it shows up at your house, it's arguably legal, and it is non-psychoactive. That's very appealing for a lot of people. So it's able to ride on that zeitgeist of cannabis.
That popularity has made its way into big business. CVS Health recently announced it'll begin selling CBD-infused products in more than 800 stores across the country. And Simon Property Group, the nation's largest mall owner, has joined with cannabis goods maker Green Growth Brands to open roughly 100 kiosks at its malls by midsummer.
It was easy to get funded as a CBD and cannabis company. It might not be so easy to get funded as a beauty company, a new beauty company.
Even Martha Stewart is teaming up with Canada's Canopy Growth Corporation to develop new products. CBD's seemingly rapid-fire popularity comes as Americans are increasingly open to trying it, despite very little evidence supporting many of the health claims the CBD industry is making.
Unfortunately, the vast majority of what we know about CBD is really just still limited to animal studies. More often than not, things that look good in animals, when you go into humans, those effects aren't there.
CBD usually comes from a type of cannabis called hemp. Unlike THC, which gives marijuana its mind-altering effect, pure CBD does not get people high. But experts still advise caution when eating or drinking products that contain CBD.
There is data that CBD can boost the levels of other drugs. If you are boosting the levels of those other drugs, you might have a side effect. The flip side is if you are putting on a CBD skin cream product, to date, we still don't have a single human study looking at what CBD topical products do.
An FDA-approved drug for the treatment of seizures called Epidiolex became the first prescription drug derived from the cannabis plant last June. But the real game changer for CBD came late last year when President Trump signed a farm bill legalizing hemp cultivation. The Food and Drug Administration recently cracked down on CBD-infused products that make health claims, but that's not stopping some businesses from trying to turn green into more green. It is the wild, wild west out there.
Yeah, it's still unregulated, right, and untested.
You can buy it just about anywhere.
And you give it to your pets.
I give it to Lola.
She's had great results.
Seems to be helping. But if you use it for your pets, make sure it's a product made for pets. Because it's a lot less. The strength's a lot less.
Oh, that's a good point. Good thing to remember. Well, real spring, believe it or not, is right around the corner.
It's time to attract pollinators to your
Right now, seeing delays along the Beltline, at least eastbound currently. If we look at our traffic camera at the Beltline right at Broadway, I'm not seeing too many major delays at this time, but again, eastbound side, those speeds reduced quite a bit. Instead of going a little closer to 55 or 60, we're down to about 60 miles per hour, 21, and then finally picking back up closer to 50 the further you pull away from John Nolan. Around Janesville, things look okay. We are seeing a little bit of a delay, though, on the northbound side of 39 and 90. Once you get past the Janesville city limits, the rest of the route does look pretty okay right now. From Verona to the Beltline will take you just about 5 minutes, 7 minutes from Oregon to the Beltline, and 4 from Springfield to University Avenue. If you're traveling from Janesville to the Beltline, 26 minutes, 17 from Sauk City to Middleton, and then southbound Sun Prairie to downtown should be just about a 19-minute commute for you this evening. That's a quick look at your First Alert traffic.
All right, Dana, thank you. An iconic Las Vegas business is up for sale. A little white wedding chapel's on the market. It'll only cost you $12 million. That's a far cry from the $50,000 Charlotte Richards originally paid in 1951. Nearly 70 years later, she says it's time to retire so she can travel the world. You need to supply your own Elvis impersonators.
Why is it so expensive?
It's on the Strip in Vegas.
Because it's iconic, I guess, yeah.
It's right on the Strip. Well, plants and flowers need help from pollinators in the spring.
Hummingbirds are some of the most important ones, and Lisa Briggs from the Bruce Company is here with some ways to attract hummingbirds to your garden. Hi, Lisa.
Hi. They're kind of magical, aren't they?
They are magical.
I love them.
Are they here yet?
No, they are not here yet. They're on their way. There was a sighting in Rockford today, Naperville, and also Niles, Michigan yesterday. So they're on their way. The general time that they get here is around the first week of May is when we can expect them. If you want them to hang out in your yard, you need to have food available for them when they get here.
Why is that?
Well, because what they're going to do is they're going to come through. They are super hungry. They go through calories really quickly. So if you have some food available when they get here, they might hang around. Otherwise, they'll just move on.
And the flowers aren't out yet.
And a lot of the flowers are not out that early. So you can start with as a feeder. And there are lots of commercial feeders available.
This is the iconic one?
Yes, this is the iconic one. They're really pretty glass ones. There's some with jars. I find that the ones where sometimes you'll find them with the tubes that hang down and those stoppers always fall out. Because the glass will swell in the summer. But these are better where they actually go down.
And you want to hang it from a branch?
You can hang it from a branch. You want to have cover so that they don't worry about predators. You also have to understand that hummingbirds are incredibly territorial, so maybe spread your feeders around. One male will get around and chase all the other ones away.
Oh, that's interesting.
So what do you put in it?
You put in, it's basically sugar water. So it's 4 parts water to 1 part sugar. Super easy to make. You just heat it up until the sugar dissolves and let it cool, and then fill your feeder.
You can buy it already made?
You can buy it pre-made. You can also buy it a mix. This is a powder mix that you would just mix with water. What you want to be careful with, though, is the commercial ones are often red because they're attracted to red. Oops, sorry about that. You want to make sure that the red coloring comes from hibiscus or something natural, not from dye. There's been some studies that show that the dye affects the thickness of the eggshell, and so some of the chicks aren't being born.
Oh, that's not
that's good. That's a good thing to be.
Yes.
So what do you got going here?
So this is a little if you want to make your own feeder, this would be something really fun to do with kids. This is just a small ball jar, the kind that have the lids with the opening. And then this is like a red piece of foam plastic that you get in the craft store, and you cut some holes in it, and then take the jar and put some red flowers around. Fill this with
These don't have
stuff.
to be real.
No, these are not real, and as a matter of fact, you probably don't want them real, otherwise you'd be playing with them all the time. Put that on there and screw this on, and then it's kind of like a flower when it hangs.
Oh, look at that. That is really clever.
Isn't that cute?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it'll
Pipe
hang.
cleaners to tie it
Pipe
up?
cleaners or some wire and just put it in a tree, but it would be a really fun project to do with kids.
That's a great idea.
Or you can just come to the garden center and pick out a really pretty one for your mom for Mother's Day.
What about the natural
You can go
version?
natural, right.
And you can go natural, and it would, even if you had a feeder, it would be good to have flowers underneath it that they like. Their favorite, absolute favorite, is salvia. And we
Is
don't
that
have
this pink
salvia
one?
in yet. That's gaura, which is close, but salvia is the best. It's just too early for us to have it in the garden center yet. It's a really easy to grow annual. It comes in blues, purples, pinks, reds, and it's a magnet for hummingbirds. They love it.
What about these other ones?
This is lantana, which is pretty good.
They can get, this is enough?
Yep, because the nectar comes from inside. This is like a million bells, those little petunias. Anything that's funnel-shaped, brightly colored, and some of them, of course, are more nectar-heavy than others, but there are lots of websites that will show you what flowers are best. And if you want to watch the migration, go to hummingbird-guide.com and you can see a map and click on it and see where they are. And you can also register your own sighting on there.
Oh,
that's great.
And they come all the way from
They come all
Central
the way.
America?
Yes, they do. It's amazing. Such teeny tiny creatures. I once held one in my hand once.
Oh.
It was caught in the store, and when you let them go, they fly straight up so high. It's amazing.
Wow.
They are incredible creatures.
Yes, they really are.
And besides hummingbirds, we got bees.
And yes, and pollinators are always a good thing. Bees, lots of small mammals will act as pollinators. Some really kind of unattractive beetles will act as pollinators. So it's the season, and most of our food needs to be pollinated.
Right.
So
Exactly.
It's
important.
All right, track the hummingbirds.
Yeah, I'm
And
excited.
they're fun to watch.
I think so too.
All right, Lisa. Thank you.
Thanks, Lisa.
Thank you.
Spring's around the corner. We'll be right back with a final check of your forecast. Dana's back, still keeping an eye on the skies.
Absolutely. So we do have a line of storms right now moving through Iowa. That's actually triggered 2 severe thunderstorm warnings. So this is a look at the last 3 hours. I want to stop it right now. And again, those warnings that you can see outlined there in Iowa, that bright orange near Waterloo and also just outside of Des Moines. That line of storms, of course, is going to continue to move east. It's getting a little more organized as it does. I'd say it'll start to get a little closer to the state line as we get closer actually to about 8, 9 o'clock, still crossing in and moving closer to Madison. So we've got just about 2, 3 more hours before we start to see those storms really move into the area. Right now, things are quite just cloudy. Most of the actual rain is to the north, but that storm line, again, has 2 severe thunderstorm warnings with it, and we may see some isolated strong to severe thunderstorms for us in southern Wisconsin as well. And even if they aren't severe, of course, a strong thunderstorm can still bring very strong wind gusts and the threat of hail. So if you do start to hear the rumbles of thunder, it's a good idea to stay inside.
So Grant County in a couple hours.
Madison just right after that, as that line's moving pretty quickly for us.
All right, thanks, Dana.
Tomorrow here on Live at 4, we'll have a reaction to the release of the Mueller report. The Attorney General is holding a news conference tomorrow morning at 8:30 our time. You can watch it live here. And we'll go behind the wheel with Harvey Briggs in the 2019 Jeep Wrangler, an off-roader that's become more on-road friendly. That's tomorrow.
In today's Final Touch, Easter